is design patterns. Today we're going to talk about threat modeling. And Gustavo here hails from Venezuela, but he's a security nomad. He is someone that travels the world regularly. I had the pleasure of meeting with Gustavo in recently. I think it was in Boston, if I remember correctly, but it was somewhere in the Northeast, and we were at a conference and we spoke together, and I convinced him to see if he could teach a little bit about what he's been doing on the threat modeling front. So obviously, AI and generative language models is going to be a catalyst for any security effort, and he's here to talk to us about how ChatGPT can help to improve your overall threat model. Gustavo, I'm going to let you add some additional, context in terms of your background. The last thing I'll mention for our listeners that are out there, if you have peers, coworkers, and even professionals that are outside of Atlanta that want to be able to support the Atlanta chapter, please, please, please go to donate on the OWASP, .org page. You can make a donation there to thank you for that, Guled, to go to OWASP.org /donate. It is a nonprofit, so tax deductible, very timely for next year's taxes. But in any case, it really helps for us so that we can basically put on in-person events and subsidize some of the costs, in locations and things like that. I will also say something that Guled and I have been talking about for OWASP Atlanta for quite some time, is to potentially put on a North American OWASP conference here in the ATL. So we've been talking about it. We miss our co-leader Zakia, who's she's in the beautiful state of Hawaii now. But we've been talking about this for a long time. If you're interested in helping us tackle on this absolute madness of an idea of putting on an international conference here in the Atlanta area, then please help us to reach out. You can reach out to both of us. There's our respective OWASP IDs, and we'd love to be able to get other crazy leaders out there that want to put on a global event. And but with that, let's turn it over to the main event.
Right before we
Gustavo.
start, Tony,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to also say that we actually did already post our upcoming meeting, hybrids meetings that we're going to be starting next month. So it's already posted on our meetup on February 27th. We'll be having our first in-person meetup at Ponce City Market at FanDuel. Talking about the integration of SemGrep and Cyclone DX, the OWASP project Cyclone DX. So it's all about how do we scale repositories, how we manage vulnerabilities end to end. So that will be happening next month, and it's hybrid. So hopefully y'all can join us.
Absolutely. You don't want to just see me and Gula there, putting down beers at the location. So please come out there and join us. All right, Gustavo, the floor is yours. Please feel free to fill in the blanks with a little bit of your background, just for the audience's, edification in terms of who you are, your background, and yeah, we'll go on mute.
Thank you. And was Washington, the city we make together, the first talk. Well, yeah. Let me share my screen. That is the first thing I am going to make. Perfect. Well, thank you for the invitations. First of all, about my background. I started like programmer in Venezuela. By the way, this is my LinkedIn profile. If you want to contact me after the meeting or this session, please only refer yourself to this URL. I started like programmer 5 years. After that, I jumped to the area of application security in Chile, South America. There, I had the opportunity to create 2 departments of application security. And currently, I am creating a couple of ones now in United States. I had 4 publications in this area, focusing application security in cloud for the IEEE and application security in hyperlayers to be used for blockchains, things like that in another organizations. And what else? If you look in the definition of the SAST tool in Wikipedia, I am one of the reference there. And I am glad you invite me today to give this talk because I want to give you a very good one and interactive presentation. What is the idea here? We are going to go from 0 to 100. This means I am going to try to explain the basic concepts you need to know when you are going to make a threat modeling. And after that, we are going to review the different tools we currently have in the market. That means manual threat modeling, automated threat modeling, artificial intelligence threat modeling. In the end of this session, you can get in your own conclusions about what is the best way to do this currently. For this presentation, I want you, any doubt you have or any comment or reply or any question I made during the presentation, please reply this in the chat. I am going to review the chat for you participate more in this session. Well, and that is it. Okay, first of all, everybody, or I don't know if everybody here know what is the definition of CVE details website. Someone here know what is the definition of CVE details? What is the purpose of this website? No one? Okay, CVE details is a website when you catalog the vulnerabilities based in the findings and the criticality to find common vulnerabilities. That is correct. But what is the definition, the difference between CVE, web page, and CVE details? CVE details is going to give you more information about the findings. You need to know about this web page because when you are trying to looking a vulnerability related to one technology, for example, the year of the technology affected for the vulnerability, the vendor affected for the vulnerability, you can come here. But what is the difference between CVE and CWE? Someone know the difference?
Yeah, weaknesses are related to software design, software imperfections, and CVEs are typically associated with, platform system, OS, manufacturers of usually COTS, commercial off the shelf.
Correct. For example, when you look here the information about CVE, you can see different vendor information, what is the purpose or the when the hacker or the research found the vulnerability. But in CVE details, you can find, for example, more information about the vulnerability, but focus in the perspective of a software developer or someone to know about programming. This means, for example, in CVE details, the authentication errors have a summary of the different natures or applications related to this vulnerability. For example, you can hack this vulnerability associated to a single factor authentication product. Also, you are going to have some recommendation based in the perspective of a developer. That is the difference between the both websites. CVE is as concept and CVE is as specific vulnerabilities. Yeah, but like we mentioned before, because I am reading the chat right now, CVE details is more focused to software developer. For example, you are going here and you can see how many witnesses related or you hack per year, modifications during the years, and you can even so getting more information in the perspective of a developer. What is the difference between that two ones and Mitri? Someone here know the difference between these two and Mitri?
Can you repeat the question, Gustavo?
Sorry, what is the difference between CWE and Mitri attack? This website. You know the difference between the two websites?
Yeah, so one is weaknesses and another one is so you have two libraries. One's a weakness enumeration, imperfections again in design software, and attack is a framework or attack patterns. It was initially designed for post exploitation, but it's commonly used as a library of attack patterns. So one is for offensive, understanding patterns that have reflected actual, incidents and events, and then the other MITRE library, which is CWE, is more about software imperfections in design and in coding.
That is correct. And I read also the reply in the chat. For example, Guard say Mitri is a real world attack seen in the wild. And Sirland say CWE are witnesses and Mitri attack are techniques and tactics from hackers, used by hackers, sorry. Okay. After hack the definitions in mind, give me a moment. Yeah. We can jump directly to see which are the current tools we use to make threat modeling. The first one is, for example, at the beginning or the creation of the threat modeling, we had manual threat modeling system or programs like OWASP, Threat Dragon. If you want to see OWASP Threat Dragon is a GitHub project from OWASP, and that GitHub project from OWASP gives you the possibility to create diagram flows in this application, and you are going to put the relationship. For example, you can, or you have the entities. The entities also have components. For example, the components are the process related. For example, a process could be a web page application, be consultant for a user. You can also declare an store. The store could be a database. An actor is the person can send the message. For example, a data flow is the way of the data flow between the different components. The components, for example, you can, like I said before, you can say process or components for me are the same. And they have a data flow between the different process, and you can declare that. We have that way to make threat modeling currently. You have this related or this project from OWASP in different flavors. You can download this for Windows, Mac, and Unix. operating system currently. Now, after review the items, we are going to review, for example, how may automated threat modeling. This is the other way we can do threat modeling currently. What is the idea? You are going to hack the diagram like you are currently hacked in the manual threat modeling software. Back here, you can hack the different components or process more defined. Correct? For example, you can have a cloud storage component, and these components are more defined compared to the old diagram we saw in the OWASP diagram. What is the idea of this? For example, you can, by component or process, in this case, you can complete a questionnaire. What is the idea of the questionnaires? Remember when we're talking about MITRE attacks? In MITRE is a library or database of possible attacks. If you can see here, the first thing we need to define in this questionnaire is what kind of possible attacks you are going to receive. This component, not you. And after that, because we review metric and CAPEC, we can really take that database and relate that components and define what kind of items we can relate to this product or process. In this case, is the server you can see in the diagram. Also, the assets. The assets is the third concept we need to review here. What is the assets, or what is the thing this tool called assets? These are the compliance. For example, if you're using PCI, or you need to store credit card information, you need to define if you are going to store this information. You are going to send component from that, send that information from that component, sorry. Also, if you are going to handle customer data or healthcare information, because we know we have another compliance, in this case is HIPAA. And after you define that, you are going to hack to fill the things, like I said before, related to the component. The first one was a server. The second one is a Azure Cloud. And you can make the same easily because you have all the database, the 3 ones website we reviewed previously here, correct? After you define this, you can see the portfolio of threats related to this diagram, for example. Also, in the automatic threat modeling tool, you can customize your threats. You can catalog the risk of these threats.
So I'm just going to jump in, Gustavo, because I think you and I had talked about this in DC, and
one of my gripes in in the industry is the security industry's misunderstanding of threats and attacks, right? Oftentimes in like products, you have basically attack libraries mentioned as threats, right? And vice versa. So, in real threat modeling outside of the cybersecurity industry, they don't do that same mistake. And just wanted to get your own personal thoughts on that, because those things that you show there on that tool, they're reflecting actual attack patterns, not threats.
Yeah, my personal opinion about that is threats is the possible vulnerabilities you can hack related to the software version you're using, the programming language you're using, and an attack is the skill or the resource person try to exploit this vulnerability. For example, we hack threats SQL injection, but results the SQL injection are related to bypass a firewall. We have the threat there. No, the vulnerability there. But the threat is how much skill need a developer, well, not a developer, a researcher or a hacker to exploit this. And that is something you can use in CVEs. You can use in another parameter, for example, try to make a regular pen testing to see how strong is the firewall to protect and how real is the threat related. That is the difference for me about that. But I don't know your opinion about these two, but that is my general thinking about that.
That sounds good. I just wanted to get your take.
Well, if you can see, for example, we are going to hack components. For example, for the web application related to this model, we are going to hack 53 threats. And any one of these are related to a CAPEC reference. Here, we are going to hack the impact. This is the CVS score. Remember, any vulnerability here hack a degree of confidentiality impact, integrity impact, and the other one. We are going to hack an issue description and the reference. That is the thing we make when we do a manual pen testing, manual threat modeling. But what is the problem here? We need to review all the websites previously we reviewed during this presentation. Well, we finish with that. Any doubt until now? What is the tool? Yeah, the tool is a community tool. I don't not recommend you use that tool. I only using that tool for complement my threat modeling, because the science of this is you need to review inside your room with 2 or 3 security experts about the possible attacks and vulnerabilities and threats related to the products we have. Because we mentioned, well, like we mentioned before, you probably have a firewall between an SQL injection, possible vulnerability, but the real threat to that SQL be exploited for a junior pen tester or semi-senior pen tester is really low, because the firewall you are using right now probably are using, I don't know, artificial intelligence, or is very well configured. Well, now I am going to show you, this is my last paper. The idea of this paper is digging about what is the possible things you can do in the field of application security using artificial intelligence. For this example, I am using the free version of ChatGPT. And you can see, very popular now because MVC application. SQL attack are not, sorry, I am reading a question in the chat. Yeah, all like we mentioned before, all depends on the technology. You can using MVC programming technology, and probably the SQL is going to be less effective. MVC is model view controller programming technique. You can using that when you are programming in .NET, for example, framework. And it's more secure because you split the layers of the programming languages, but it's also more secure because the way this framework is created is by layers of validation. You can put a validation in the view layer, or you can put a validation in the control layer. You have 3 layers, and you can protect any of these layers for avoid SQL injection. But all depends on the knowledge of the programmer have related to vulnerabilities. Okay, but talking about artificial intelligence and application security, well, this paper, the first thing I am trying to make with this testing using ChatGPT was generate a threat modeling. I close to ChatGPT and using the same diagram you saw before in the automatic threat modeling tool, and I reply, or I made the question to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT replied to me with a diagram. The diagram showed me the interaction between a web browser, HTTP request, and these technologies related to this diagram. He also explained to me what is the MITRE attacks, the CVE flux or vulnerabilities, and the CWE numbers related to that vulnerabilities. After that, I am using this ChatGPT to scanning vulnerabilities in files, but that is another example. In that example, the SQL injection scanning tool using ChatGPT like a SAST tool. Is this white paper public document? Not yet. I had this paper be reviewed right now for 2 editors in UK. I hope it's going to be published this year, but they review this paper right now. And for example, about a scanning tool, I go directly for this. I am confused. You are confused about what? Well, you can explain more the question and I am going to reply to you. Well, for the second part of the paper, I try to emulate all the functions or the tasks you made during the process of application security. For example, I don't have a SAST tool, but I want to validate what is the better recommendation for an SQL injection. I took this SQL injection example. Yeah, ChatGPT is finding SQL attack. Yes, we are going to see that in a moment. I take that, or I took in that in the moment, and put that in ChatGPT and asking to ChatGPT, this section or this code line had any vulnerabilities, and ChatGPT replied to me yes, and also give me the recommendation. Now we are going to jump to ChatGPT. Well, like I said before, we are going to review Uh, well, we can start from the beginning. I made this an hour ago. And the first thing was this question. Please, you can help me to create a new threat modeling. The programming languages, and sorry for the typo, but I was hurry to give you a leader view about the power of ChatGPT currently in application security, was this threat modeling. Please help me to create a threat modeling for a programming, and that programming application or that application has the programming languages Java. The web server this application uses Apache, and they're using credit card payment. And also we sell health insurance inside of the company. And the database we use are MongoDB. Okay, I took that and ChatGPT replied to me. For example, this programming language had these possible vulnerabilities. After that, he replied to me, the vulnerabilities related to Apache. And you can see right now, the vulnerabilities related are very simple, yeah. In the majority of the cases, this is more complicated, yeah. But the items he mentioned in this list are possible threats. For example, Java, yes, injection attack, no matter is SQL, no matter is another kind of injection, but in this case it needs to be SQL because SML injection is for files and SML. And look that he don't mention injection in general. He mentioned injection because it's only one programming language, Java. You cannot have here JSON injection, SML injection, and that to me show me he understand the question. The second thing is because I scripting, because I forgetting. Apache, you can get in a DDoS attack because it's not very well configured, the Apache server, for some engineer guys in some department, and that is possible threat. The configuration of a CCL TLS. And for example, when I told about MongoDB, he mentioned the injection again, but he told me this is not going to be this is not going to be a SQL injection. This is going to be a no SQL injection because it's not another way to do this. For the credit card payment processing, we had the threats also, and the compliance implications in this diagram. Well, after that, I asked to the artificial intelligence, told me the possible attacks, and he explained to me the threats and give to the threats a description and an example of that attack. And after that, I asking about what is the CVE or CVE associated to these vulnerabilities. He don't understand the question because this was a more general question, and I need to redefine this question asking related, or I need to relate this question to this threat modeling. After I redefine the question, he tell me, okay, the CVEs and CWEs related, and we mentioned it before, these are two kind or two type of database. He attached the CVE and the CWE to that vulnerability. And this is another question. This is another question. This is not important for this presentation, but important here. Like I said before, he already can create diagrams from you between the relationships and the components. At the beginning, you probably say, okay, this is not a full diagram, full components interaction or flow data between all the components, but you can redefine the question even more and more, and you are going to have a more defined result or diagram in this case. Now, the second example. I asked it to ChatGPT, found vulnerabilities in these code lines. And ChatGPT give me or found the vulnerabilities like you can see here. For example, he tell me, assuming this parameter, input parameter, we are going to hack this possible injection here. But that is not all. For example, you can also ask it to ChatGPT, okay, what is the possible fix to the vulnerability? And he is going to give you, for the developers, a recommendation about how you can polish these code lines and be more secure when you develop the application. Back again to the back again to the threat modeling example. We can how I can get a copy of the today recording. I don't know, talking with the chapter leader. Bring the threat modeling again. Okay, we had the threat modeling again. Thank you. That is too much information. I only want the diagram. Show me the data flow dangers between the components. This is another part of the threat modeling. Identify the risk between the data flow. For example, between the Java web application and Apache web server, one of the data flow dangers are unencrypted data transmission. And you can mitigate that using CCL or TLS. Another one, between the Apache web server and Mongo database, you can have insecure data transmission, and you can use the same mitigation for that one. Okay, bring the diagram with the data flow and flow interaction. Okay, he published now the diagram, and now we have a better diagram right now. After that, you can add the IDs the CVE and the CWE and CVE database to the diagram. Ah, wonderful. You see, this is a beauty. Right now we have the CVE and the CWE attached to that diagram. Well, we already have 45 minutes saving days of work. Yeah, that is the idea of my last paper. Show you how you can save a lot of time or lot of time making the daily work using artificial intelligence. What else? Okay, give me the CAPEC ID list associated to this diagram. Ah, now I have the CAPEX ID. Yeah, catching plane, yeah. I always travel. It's a beautiful life. And that is it. You can keep in digging in this. I don't know if you had question because I only had 15 more minutes or 14 more minutes. But before to continue with this, I want you to take a screenshot of this list or tools or artificial intelligence portal you can use in right now for different purpose inside or cybersecurity. I am going to give you a minute to take the screenshot, and after that you can make questions about the presentation if you have any, of course.
No, I think this is good. I think this is but there's a caveat to all this, and you know, Gustavo, I'm definitely looking for any rebuttal to this. If you go back to your diagrams that were created, and it's important for everyone that's looking at this and using these tools to not take it as gospel. If you think they're going to be using any AI, you're going to get accurate taxonomies from MITRE 100% of the time, you're wrong. And this is just from literally months of experience of doing this with a very large team and multiple teams. So, and this is in general, it's not just with threat modeling, but as you consume, you know, private LLMs and even public ones, it's only going to hinge on the accuracy of the data set. And so if you look at some of the actual CWEs that were associated with like unencrypted channels to the MongoDB backend, it doesn't reconcile with unencrypted traffic at all, as an example. And you know, some of the CVEs that are created dynamically also are just like placeholders. It doesn't mean that what is manifested here or using any of these things is useful, but you have to have a level of caution. And if you just take output and be like, hey, I did a threat model to your corporation, to your university, or whatever you're doing threat modeling, you're going to run into somebody that's going to try to scratch beneath the surface, and it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. And then the other thing I'll just simply say, just as a threat modeling enthusiast as well, I think, you know, again, threat modeling does not begin within the security industry, although that many would like to think so. There is attacks and there's threats and there are differences. And so if you talk to leaders at MITRE, which is an entity in Maryland that are supported by DHS and other government-related initiatives, they will say that, you know, these attack libraries that exist, like CAPEC and ATT&CK, which is originally developed as a post-exploitation library, in many tools today, quote tools, I'll use that word very loosely, they are using these taxonomies as threats, and they're not threats. So, so just, that just is my, personal take, but I do want to say that definitely, to Gustavo's point, you can move mountains and push your overall threat model using a lot of the things that are there. Absolutely. There is in ChatGPT, the ChatGPT store, and there's a couple different threat models that have been produced. And, definitely, I think it's good, but just those are my 2 cents.
Of course, at the moment, I don't recommend, or I don't substitute the knowledge of the persons and the intelligent or real persons with artificial intelligence, but this can help you to speak the process of creation of the threat modeling. You need to redefine that or publish that. Yeah, that is true. But at the moment, that is a very useful tool you can use in for speak the process. Okay, we are going to review right now something here. CAPEC 667A. Yeah, for example, one of the questions in the chat is CAPEC 567A is not exists currently. You see? And you can look in here and it's correct. But what is the problem, or what was the problem? He tried to say CAPEC 678. The 5 was an error, and that is a reason why you can use this tool for help you to create a threat modeling easily in quick. But you need more experience and polish the information he gives you, because if you are going to copy and paste, it's going to be complicated you continuing in this field. Second question, can you remind me the first prompt to get GPT? I don't understand the question.
I
Yeah.
I had a typo when I was saying the first prompt you put into ChatGPT outlined all the components you had.
This one.
Okay. Okay. So you're giving like the components that you're using and industry, so health insurance database, and then the type of database.
Yeah, you can redefine the question. This was a simple question. You can put the Java programming version languages you are using. You can put also the Apache version you are using, how many days this Apache server have during the last year, how much credit card information you usually have during a work day. But this was the simple question. Help me to create a threat model. But you can, like we saw during this example, polish more and more and more the questionnaire and redefine.
Define it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
No problems. BC, what company is doing this presentation? I am doing the presentation myself. Some people say artificial intelligence is confidentially run. Yeah, but you are not going to put here the names or the emails or the address or the member of the company. You are only going to use a little segment without disclosed information. This means artificial intelligence is not danger. Danger is the user. If you put information or you disclose information to this program, that is the only way I can see a probably disclosed information. Use is I don't understand. Other question for the Miss Brown was use it as online to the process and do the diligence. How?
Oh, that was just a comment to, I think
Ah.
what Tony was saying about not trusting it so much. And I was just reiterating what he was saying. That wasn't a question. I'm sorry.
No problem. CAPEC 1, 2, 3, 4. GTP cannot handle CAPEC properly. Yeah, but like we mentioned before, you can publish this yourself because imagine if ChatGPT made a proper, perfect threat modeling, what is the reason to hire you? One time I used Chat to help me to code something and I wrote the application. Probably because you are using ChatGPT, like I mentioned before, copy and paste. You need to see the results because this is like a calculator. You're using the calculator to get in the numbers summarize more faster or make all the equations faster, but the engineer, the pen, review the results. Question, when asking ChatGPT to create threat modeling, we had to be careful not reveal information specific to my company, reveal the information related to my company, since I will then the public for others. Yeah, you don't need to put your personal information there. I don't know why you are going to put the company information there. You only need to put the section, for example, for the SAST scanning code line, you put the 2 or 3 lines you believe are insecure. You're not going to put all the file. When you create a threat model, you're not going to say, okay, I am work for the US government Department of Health, and I had this problem. But you know, our office are located in Washington. Why you're going to do that? Other question? No? Well, in that case, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. We only had 1 hour and the hour is already passed. If you have more questions, please contact me directly in LinkedIn. And that is it. No, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
As I'm on mute. Thank you everyone for joining us. You'll be able to see a recording on our YouTube channel, so just check us out and OWASP.org/www.chapteratlanta. So thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.